In this video, we're going to be looking at switch. Switches, I think, are pretty cool. They're pretty fun. And so we're going to be looking at the docs, as we always do, because we want to get a handle on how do we actually use this. And then it looks like I have about 2-ish or so examples. So let's get to reading. So we see switch right here. It says the switch component is used as an alternative to the checkbox component. So not a, it looks like you could swap them in and out essentially. So you could switch between enabled and disabled states, which is cool. So the switch must always be accompanied by a label and follows the same keyboard workflow as checkbox. So let's keep that in mind here. So we have switch import right here. Click this off and then on. We have this form control. We have some display aligning stuff going on, not too super important, but we have this form label right here, HTML4, and we have email alerts, and that is hooking up to this switch right here. So this will help inform the web browser, e-readers, all that other stuff that, hey, this label right here is connecting to this switch, which is, you always want that. And in this case, you must have that, right? And so you have this forced through the library association here. And so we have email or enable email alerts, which is the text right here. And then we have next to it this switch that we could click off to on. Like everything or most things, we could change the size. So we have the stack, which really doesn't matter here. It's just a nice way to align these. We have switch for size, or the size is small, medium, and large are your options here. And voila, we've turned them all on here, and these are your sizes to choose from. And you can also change the background color. So this is a green, and this one's going to be a red here. And all you come in and do is in the switch, use the color scheme or whatever, other method or however create these you want to. And you just give it the red or the teal or by whatever method or means you're going to as well. But it's as simple as this, which is really nice. And so here's some props. And so the docs, aren't super long as they are on some of the other components that we've covered and will cover. But just keep in mind that there are a lot of other things you could do they explicitly don't show you. And I may not show you either. So always check back here. But this is enough reading. Let's get to coding. So now let's look at switches. What we're going to do first is build a form control around it because we want to give as much meaning to our website as possible. And we also want to attach next to it a form label. So that way we can tell the user, especially if they have an assisted device, kind of what's going on in that area so they could use our product. Because remember, you may, have supported readers, maybe 2, 3, 4% of maybe your income, but that could still be a gigantic amount of revenue you're easily missing out on if you just, focus on accessibility there. So let's go ahead and build this out. Now that we have this here, we have this box around here just to push it out. So we have this flip the switch to subscribe and win $1 right here. So I could come on over, I could click it, and I could change it to blue. That's no problem whatsoever. And so if I wanted to, since this is large, I can make it a small. We see that it changes thusly. And if I wanted to change it to medium, I could do that too. But I'm going to keep it at large because I like things to be easier to see here. So this is the most basic way you could work with a switch. If you wanted to, you could customize it like anything else in here. So what I'm going to do in the next example is go ahead and set up some state and show you how to capture information with a switch. So in this section, what we're going to do is we're going to hook the switch here up to state, and we're going to toggle it back and forth. Now, as I was going over my notes, I was realizing something kind of interesting. If you use a regular on change and you send the event on through, like nothing really happens, and it's kind of strange. So let me just show you an example, and I'll show you how I worked around it. And so we have this right here. Let's go ahead and just do something tiny here. Let's add some text so we could actually get the value of the state. So now let's add that onChange handler. So I have this right here. And what I was thinking of doing previously was you could set value. And what you could do in here is send something like E. And then you could do something E.target.value. Or sometimes in other examples I've seen, you could just send E on in because that's just the straight value. So if I was to save this, it like doesn't work, which is kind of weird. And I've toggled with this, and the only way I found to really get around it is to replace the value coming out of it with what you already have up here, which is your state. So until maybe that onChange gets fixed or they replace it with something, I'm not sure. Because remember, no open source piece of software is, you know, bug free or without its, you know, issues. And maybe this would be a good, you know, first case for some of y'all to go after out there. But we're going to just set it to the opposite of whatever the current value is, so that way we could switch back and forth. So it's false. Then we see there that we actually, nothing changed. So what are we doing wrong right here? And the thing is, we're doing set value to not set value. That's what happens when you see these things over and over again. So now we set it to the opposite here. So if we reset this over again, this is false, true, false, true, false, true. And that is some of the basics you could do with a switch. Don't forget to put your stuff in a form control, have a form label, so that way if you have any kind of like e-readers or assisted devices, they could use stuff like this seamlessly. And if you like what I'm doing, like, share, subscribe. Means a lot to me, and I'll see y'all in the next video.